Step aside, Chong. There's a new disaster gay in town, unable to find meaning in his life full of suffering. In the next Case File Compendium volume, Xie Qingcheng's tragic backstory drops. Huyu realizes his feelings, and yes, there's a motorcycle chase. Welcome to Danmei Book Club.
What's up, guys? It's Kictor. I'm back with my beautiful fiance, Stitch, to talk to you about Case File Compendium Volume 4.
Why is he in a fish tank?
They kidnapped Xie Qingcheng and put him in a chlorine tank! First things first, is Xie Qingcheng starting to catch feels?
Are they not, like, on the verge of death right now?
Oh yeah, I suppose we should get to that. To start us off, a fun game.
Why do I have a feeling this is not going to be a fun game?
Because this is Case File Compendium. Let's recount a few specific things that Huyu has done to Xie Qingcheng, for no particular reason. There's a reason.
Well, he's tortured him with alcohol.
Mm-hmm.
He's made fun of him for his jellyfish videos.
Mm-hmm.
That made me physically ill. Tried to defile him while he was wearing a police uniform.
Mm-hmm.
And doesn't let him smoke. What do these things have in common to make them so fun?
I do believe throughout this book, we are going to find the reasons why these moments are even sadder than you could ever imagine.
Oh, joy. Thank you, Meat Bun. Xie Qingcheng's super fucked up sad backstory. It's okay with me if we're both a little crazy. Yeah, the little fun, giddy, dancing vibes are completely absent. What is happening?
Okay, well, the last book ended with Xie Qingcheng and Huyu literally trapped in a room that was filling up with water. They both fully believed that they were going to die, and Xie Qingcheng told Huyu that he would tell him the secret reason for why he left him as his doctor all those years ago. The thing that has been driving Huyu bonkers and making him so sad. Huyu believes that Xie Qingcheng cast him away as a child for no reason other than being heartless. Well, turns out there was a pretty damn good reason.
He had too much heart.
Well.
Oh no! Meat Bun's done it again with a man who self-sacrifices until he is just skin and bones and a cold, heartless bitch.
Yes, he didn't have much to give, but he gave all he had.
No, gets me every time. Okay, so I'm guessing it starts with him trying to solve his parents' murder.
Gets hit by a car. 19 years ago, we get a flashback of when Xie Qingcheng was just a little kid and he got the news that his parents died in a fucking crazy explosion car crash. Not just any regular car crash, a fucking crazy explosion car crash, okay?
Okay, sounds normal. Nothing to investigate here.
Their death was definitely suspicious, but there was no evidence present. So Xie Qingcheng is obsessed with finding out the truth himself and starts doing his own sleuthing. He learns that his parents had gone to a shady nightclub before they had died and managed to find a man who worked there to get some intel.
Did you mention they were police officers?
Yeah.
I was just like, shady night. They weren't swingers, to clarify. They were police officers.
Xie Qingcheng's parents are police officers, and he is going to his other police officers, like his uncles and aunts that like take care of him from the police station, being like, are we gonna solve this murder? And so Xie Qingcheng finds out from the police that his parents had gone to a nightclub before they exploded.
Sorry, it's not funny.
So Xie Qingcheng's like, something is fishy here. I'm gonna go to this club and figure it out.
Jellyfishy.
Don't get too carried away. The man Xie Qingcheng was supposed to meet, his lead in his own little kid investigation, is then murdered before they get the chance to talk.
Oh shit.
Someone burned down the nightclub.
Must be pretty important if they're willing to go that far to cover up their deaths.
Right. Xie Qingcheng is horrified. This is my fault, he thinks. Innocent people died, burned alive, because he was investigating.
Oof. Surely that amount of trauma as a child won't fuck him up.
I mean, after your parents explode, what's left of you? But he barely has time to process this guilt before something worse happens. He gets hit by a fucking car.
Oh my god.
And it's not an accident. It was targeted. There is a shady figure nearby that runs away. And by extreme luck, a group of construction workers nearby manage to save him.
Oh my god.
They call for help and he makes it to the hospital barely alive. And this is where we meet Qin Xian.
Very important character
Yes.
in his backstory. Aw.
Yeah, how special. Basically, Qin Xian, his neurosurgeon, took on the case that was Xie Qingcheng's super destroyed body. Everything is fucked. His spine, his legs, his nerves, he's barely alive. But Qin Xian doesn't want to give up on him and even pays for all of his medical expenses. When Xie Qingcheng has moments of clarity upon waking up, he begs the doctor to save him, saying, "I don't want to die. Please don't let me die. I can't die yet." And Qin Xian takes his hand and says, "I'll protect you."
That's so sweet.
Good guy doctor, for sure.
Yeah.
Then we get an even sadder backstory revealing that Xie Qingcheng actually saw his parents' dead, crumpled up bodies. And at that scene, he broke down and cried. You know, as he should. But that was the last time he ever showed any kind of childlike weakness. After that, he had fully committed to being an older brother and father figure to his younger sister. Until he got smashed by a car. But after pleading for his life, when Qin Xian took his hand and said he would protect him, Xie Qingcheng cried again and called out to him, "Dad, are you back? Please don't leave. I don't want you and Mom to leave again. I'm begging you."
Oh no, he did have feelings.
So you can clearly see that this is the beginning of Qin Xian being a father figure to Xie Qingcheng in this absolutely wretched time of his life. Xie Qingcheng's condition is rapidly deterring, and then RN13, the miracle drug, is brought up. And here we get Huyu's reaction. And we're like reminded, oh yeah, Xie Qingcheng is actually telling all of this to Huyu while like the water is filling up and they think they're gonna die.
He's like, "Can you talk a little faster? Like, we've got like 2 inches left."
And so hearing RN13, Huyu is like, Are you also? Because that's the drug that gave Huyu the condition he has. Xie Qingcheng reveals that he was the first person to ever take a dose of RN13. He was the first emperor, as it was called, which everyone else thought was just a computer simulation of the drug. It was actually tested on Xie Qingcheng.
Oh my god. He was ChatGPT.
He tells Huyu, "I'm the same as you, a psychological Ebola patient. I'm the only one whose mind has conquered the disease and can fully control myself."
Unlike you, Huyu, I'm built different, which is why I have no sympathy for your batshit insanity. Last time I checked, your parents aren't exploded, so get it together, boy.
Oh my gosh. So the way he took RN13 was basically in a specimen tank, being pumped with it constantly. While it saved him, it also gave him some weird defects, like extreme allergies and reactions to alcohol. When he drinks, he has a burning feeling all over, and it makes him weak.
I love how it's like the most wildly experimental, insane drug ever, and the side effects include, you might become allergic to mangoes. It's like, I'm sorry, I think ibuprofen has more side effects than that.
Okay, there's a few more side effects. He was once a really good athlete, super strong, and training to be a police officer, but now he had limits. And while he could be fully mobile and good, he could no longer be the best.
Which isn't that bad of a deal considering he was literally at death's door like a few months ago. Like, oh, sorry, you're able to walk and shit, but you just can't go pro NFL or anything.
Well, they explain it as if he suddenly used 30 years of his life in advance, and turns out his life expectancy is now only 40.
Okay, well, that sucks.
That's a little bit worse than taking some Advil. His only scar from the procedure is what looks like a little red mole on the back of his neck, where he had been injected with the drug.
He broke every bone in his body, but thanks to the power of RN13, he has like a sensitive mole that can be used for sex purposes. I'm sorry! I know what you are, meat bun!
I actually accidentally wrote Moran here. There's a scene where Huyu is tormenting him by kissing the mole, so it seems it's quite sensitive. That's so funny.
I'm sorry, I promise I'm sad for him.
No, it's true, it's true. Also, nobody knows he went through this. It was a complete secret. They told everyone it was just nerve block surgery, so his aunt and sister don't know how they uncrumpled him up. Nerve block therapy.
Yeah, you know, just doctor shit. And they're like, okay.
Okay, the last note in Xie Qingcheng's childhood diary is me, 40, Shi Shui, 32. So after this procedure works, his only goal is to provide for Shi Shui. His thought being, she should be married by then, and I'll have nothing to worry about. Even if he dies at 40, she will be okay.
No pressure to get married at all. But hurry up, Shi Shui. Honestly, at the rate your brother's going, he doesn't have to 40. Huyu's gonna drastically shorten his lifespan even more. If you don't know the meaning of living,
we'll find out what the meaning of living is.
I don't know. smoke cigarettes and enjoy jellyfish.
So he's fixed. But once he's home, he starts to get the thirst for blood and violence.
He's in the luteal stage.
He also stops feeling whenever he has these fevers, like he has these episodes. And then he gets very angry, and one time he actually blew up at Xie Shui so bad that she cried, and she said, "You're not Gaga," which really fucked him up. Also, he's still a kid while all this is happening, too. He's pretending to be an adult, but he's still just a child, right?
Yeah.
So that made him really, really sad, and he does some introspection, and the thought comes to him, why am I suffering so much just to keep living?
Good question.
Good question. The thing is, though, these are just episodes, and he can sober up out of them and always feels very remorseful afterwards. But he finally calls Qin Xian up to tell him how he's been feeling. And Qin Xian is like, what? We didn't think it would have psychological problems.
Like, bro, even without the experimental drugs, I do think that he should have been going to therapy after all of this. Hello?
Yeah, literally, right?
You didn't think you'd have any psychological problems after your parents exploded and you exploded and everyone's exploded and the explosions are everywhere and they haven't stopped exploding.
So they put him on a bunch of new drugs, but nothing can stop his emotional suffering.
It's just like in real life.
So one day he takes a knife to his arm. Oh no. But then guess who rolls up just in time to stop him? Qin Xian. And what does he say? What are you doing? Doesn't that hurt?
That's what he said to Huyu when he became his doctor.
Exactly.
Oh my gosh.
This is exactly what Xie Qingcheng said to Huyu when he saw him hurting himself. In that moment, Xie Qingcheng looked to Qin Xian like a small animal without a home.
No, not the homeless bun.
And that's when Qin Xian realized that this wasn't just any ordinary psychological issue. So he calls up his friend in America who had given the drug to other people and finds out they had all killed themselves.
It's like, I just gave this to a small child and you just left that info out?
And yeah, I'm like, how did you not know this caused psychological problems at this point? But I digress. It's an experimental drug, okay?
I love how that happened and like the American friend didn't like give him a call, be like, hey, how's that kid you gave the drug to? Because all of mine are dead. He didn't think to call him first. He waited until he called him.
I'm sure they didn't know. I know. Qin Xian thinks if someone could survive this, it would surely be Xie Qingcheng, as long as he had someone who could genuinely understand and care for him. Are we seeing the parallels yet? Qin Xian takes him on as his adopted son to actually nurture and care for him, not just in a medical sense, but just like a father. And they also can't make this public because RN13 is a prohibited drug, and there would be no reason for him to have a relationship with a neurosurgeon if he's no longer getting treatment.
This is interesting because at this point in the narrative, you're like, okay, so Xie Qingcheng is, you know, having this like wonderful like father figure in his life that is hopefully going to like help him through this, like the psychological side effects and everything. Like he would know the benefit of that. But then, you know, all we know is that in the future, his like doctor-patient relationship with Huyu was like very strictly professional, didn't have that warmth and, you know, emotional side of it. So I'm like, okay, what happened between point A and point B where he was like, not doing that again? Nothing good, I'm sure.
At this point, Xie Qingcheng decides, since he can't become a police officer because of his lacking physical strength, that he will instead become a doctor like Qin Xian. And so Qin Xian starts teaching him at such an early age. So just like how hacking is Huyu's special Ebola interest, becoming a doctor was Xie Qingcheng's, and that's how he was able to achieve it so young. So he literally had a mentor. He also has special Ebola powers. Don't ask questions.
Why, yes, many of my experiments do involve myself. Okay, Mama, I'll go off.
Yeah, so Xie Qingcheng, you know, trying to become a doctor and stuff, starts researching RN13's possibilities, and through this he realizes that he himself would make an excellent test subject because his body could handle testing no ordinary person could. He could let scarlet stamens bloom from his suffering, let his own life be a light to those who lived in pain, and lead them out of the endless, suffocating darkness.
Ow.
Scarlet stamens. He recorded, stored, and organized the data, stained with his own blood, which later became what some called the first Emperor data. It wasn't a robot, it was him. Except, even then, there were times when he couldn't withstand the physical pain. And Qingcheng had no idea he was doing this, until one day he walked in on him burning himself. Qingcheng does not believe in medical testing on humans. He says saving lives may be one of the purposes of scientific research, but not when it's founded on the blood of living people. And Xie Qingcheng says something along the lines of, I feel like I'm just a dead soul borrowing a corpse to inhabit. I'm not useful for anything else besides taking care of my family, and my sister doesn't even see me as her daga anymore.
It's like, bro, you yelled at her one time and she was 5. I think she'll recover.
But
That is truly so sad, and it is very impactful reading that he was just like carrying on, doing so much good, working so hard, and he just feels empty and purposeless inside.
He's also so young while all this is happening too, so of course he has an immature perspective on it. And so he has this big what's the point of living moment. He's not afraid of his body dying, but his heart dying. And this part is really heartbreaking. It really hits you with how much Xie Qingcheng endured as a child, how deeply he felt everything, and how much pain he carried on his own. It's overwhelming in the best way, knowing all of this is buried inside him. It makes me want to reread the story from this point, because we know him as such a cold person, and the fact that he has all of this in him is just so sad.
It is. Yeah, especially when you think about all of his past interactions with Huyu. It's like, oh no, he isn't just emotionless. He actually is carrying so much of that inside of him.
Also, he's not being a cold bitch. He is withholding the deepest, darkest demons a human could ever endure. Bro.
There's a difference. A subtle difference. Tale as old as time.
And the cat's in the cradle and the silver spoon. Well, we then learn that Qingcheng has a super sad backstory as well. He actually had a son that died in a car accident.
Oh no! And then he got another son who almost died in a oh yeah, he definitely needed to save him.
Yep.
Oh, and the whole moment of him just like begging not to die.
Yep.
Oh.
Yep. The last thing Qingcheng's son said to him was, I don't want to die. And of course, that morning, he like shoved his son away when he was trying to get his attention, and like didn't say he loved him and everything.
I hate that trope so much. It stresses me out so bad.
I know. Beginning of Fruits Basket.
Literally the enduring trauma from Fruits Basket.
Well, Qingcheng tells Xie Qingcheng, who's asking for a reason to live, that living well and experiencing all the beauty and vitality that the world has to offer would also be a meaningful life. And he tells him, Shishui was just a kid. She didn't actually mean that. If you actually died, it would destroy her. Qingcheng repeats himself more succinctly and tells him, for your life to have meaning, you must first live well.
Got me tearing up in the book club. Crying in the book club.
And I really loved that, because Xie Qingcheng thought for his life to have meaning, it meant torturing himself for the better of others. But just having someone here to care for him and tell him that just living well has meaning is really beautiful.
Yeah, you don't have to do anything for anyone else to deserve to live.
Literally.
Just enjoying life is good enough.
And then he takes him to an aquarium.
Oh, here we are. Formative memory.
And they get ice cream, and then they arrive at...
discovering his will to live.
The jellyfish. The magnificence of every season brewed within these organisms made of water, accompanied by the ethereal tinkling of the music box melody that played within the jellyfish palace, they drew people's hearts deep into the depths to sink into the distant ice age, 20,000 leagues under the sea. And for the first time, he felt the return of a long-lost calm in his heart.
Oof. I love that.
Qin Sean says, even though they have a short life, their lives are so carefree and simple, they're an inherently beautiful sight. They make a lot of people feel extraordinarily calm just by looking at them.
It's true. You cannot pull me away from the jellyfish at the aquarium. Could be there all day.
Qin Sean said that the meaning of life was living well. Well, these jellyfish seem to be the best interpretation of living well.
They have no fucking brain. Try that, Xie Qingcheng.
Also to note, going back, this just makes me so sad that Huyu had the whole making fun of Xie Qingcheng for his jellyfish folder on his computer.
Yeah.
Like, that truly meant so much to him, and Huyu has kicked Xie Qingcheng where it hurts so many times. To be fair, he didn't know, like, why that would have meaning to him, but it's just very painful. Just finding out that such a rigid character truly has so many deep emotions gets me every time. I'm also looking at you, Chu Wanning.
Meatbun knows one guy.
Yeah. Qin Seon also calls him Little Devil here.
Oh no.
Which is what Xie Qingcheng calls Huyu.
Even at his coldest and bitchiest, he was always using those small pieces of endearment he got from his father figure.
Yeah, it's like
Fuck
he knew
me
those
up.
things made him feel good. He would tell Huyu those things as well.
Jack of all trades, master of none, but oftentimes better than a master of one.
Then one day, Qin Seon tells Xie Qingcheng that there's actually a cure for RN13 patients to help them live longer.
What? That's easy. Why have we not solved all the problems in the story?
If he takes it, he could actually be normal and live into his 80s. However, the drawback is it dulls a bit of your mental sharpness. And Xie Qingcheng had been a prodigy doctor, so if he took it, he could only just become a normal psychiatrist, not a revolutionary doctor, which he was on track to becoming.
Okay. That, I mean, could be a tough decision for someone like him.
He wasn't
Not me. I'd rather be dumb and live forever.
He wasn't sure what to do, but then there was a news report of a psychological Ebola patient that went fucking crazy and killed his father like a rabid dog.
Oh.
And that was after he had been on the treatment Xie Qingcheng was on, and everyone thought he was going to make it. So Xie Qingcheng's like, that might happen to me.
Right, okay, so you could be a brilliant doctor and possibly have, like, a total breakdown and kill everyone around you. That, add that to the pros and cons list, and now we're... Okay.
So he decides to take the new medicine. And when he's on the new medicine, even though his mind isn't as agile, health and strength return to his body.
Nice, okay, not a bad deal.
And he realizes that he could become a police officer. And
my
there's a
gosh.
joke in here somewhere about once he becomes dumber, he can become a cop.
So funny! Oh no!
But actually, he believes he is too old for it now to get into the training for it and having the constitution for it, so he's just going to continue becoming a psychiatrist. Okay, so Xie Qingcheng knew Huyu's father because he would experiment on himself in Huyu's father's biological chemistry lab.
Okay.
So Huyu's dad then asked Xie Qingcheng, once he became a psychiatrist, to be the psychiatrist for Huyu.
Hey, aren't you that weird kid who used to cut himself in my lab? Yo, you're a psychiatrist now? I got the perfect patient for you. Sorry, that makes sense. Checks out.
Yeah.
We're good. We're so good. We're back. If I don't laugh, I'll cry.
Xie Qingcheng's not sure if he wants to do it, but then when he saw how Huyu's mom treated him and saw that Huyu suffered even more deeply than he had, he wanted to help him and stand beside that lonely child.
Aww, the loneliest whale.
On that day, with the fragrant summer hydrangeas in full bloom, when that fledgling dragon curled up helplessly and called out with such sorrow, hoping that any living person could understand his suffering and resonate with his frequency, Xie Qingcheng heard his lonely cries. But he couldn't respond. He could only look at him calmly and hold his hand and ask, "Doesn't it hurt?"
And that's how we arrived here.
Meatbun keeps calling Huyu a little puppy dragon, but really, is he not the 52 hertz lonely whale in this moment?
Yes, he is. Should have gone with whale.
If you don't know, there was this whale that made like a whale sound that no other whales could hear. And there was a whole documentary about it, and it's
And a
so
BTS
sad.
song.
Yes, and he's like the loneliest whale in the world. But at the end, he actually finds another whale that can hear him. It's beautiful.
It is beautiful.
True story.
Everything was supposed to unfold peacefully, just like that. Yeah, that's what I was thinking. What happened to fuck all of us up at this point?
This line in the book made me laugh because, oh my god, it just does not. So he was supposed to stay with Huyu for 10 years. And Huyu suffered and always said things like, none of you understand me, without knowing there was a fellow Ebola patient right there with him. Even then, Huyu wasn't that rebellious and listened and was doing well. But then, Qingcheng is known for causing some disturbances. Because he was willing to put himself in dangerous situations to help people with mental illnesses. They had an incident with a man that entered the hospital with a cleaver, and he put himself in danger to de-escalate the situation. Xie Qingcheng is very worried for him and is often warning him that he should be following procedures.
Yeah, it's like not doctors who are supposed to be dealing directly with that. It should be like security or something else, you know.
But security might fucking kill this guy.
Right? So it's clearly coming from such a good place, but if you care about someone, you don't want them necessarily going after the guy with the cleaver.
So Qingcheng always wanted to put his patients first, even if it broke protocol. And we know how this ends because it's revealed in a previous book that he ended up being murdered. Mm-hmm. But did you know it was on his birthday? And Xie Qingcheng had gotten him an embroidered handkerchief with little jellyfish on it, made of thread that sparkled in the sun.
What?
Xie Qingcheng saw the handkerchief along with his possessions the police were using as evidence, as it was now soaked in blood.
Ouch.
That 650 million year old gentle benevolence withered in the hands of a 30-something-year-old murderous thug, just like that. And that was when Xie Qingcheng became addicted to smoking. It was as if Qingcheng's cigarettes had fallen right into his hands. Every time he took a drag and smelled that familiar scent, it felt like the old man had never left.
Oh, just let him smoke.
So now think back to every time Huyu was like, don't smoke, I don't like secondhand smoke, when Xie Qingcheng was freaking out.
And all he wanted is just a little piece of comfort. Man, he really can't have anything, can he?
No. So, for the funeral, Xie Qingcheng put in a request at work to be able to attend it, but it was denied because he wasn't deemed close enough with him.
Because no one knew about their familial relationship.
No one knew of the relationship that they had of father and son, so he didn't even get to fucking go.
Oh my god. What a train wreck.
2 decades of companionship unknown to anyone else. On a 1,000,000-year timescale, perhaps friendships between 2 people disappeared in the blink of an eye, but they were never inconsequential, because every sincere emotion, noble ideal, and unadulterated kindness was imbued with this world's more profound and lofty power.
Straight up Shakespeare. What the hell?
He cries and revisits his youth for the very last time.
It's like, okay, that's the last time I'm allowing myself to feel human emotion, and never again.
And he's looking out the window of the hospital as they drive away with the procession, and he sees the flowers they got for him, and he knew that he didn't like that type of flower. He's like, he'd much prefer these. And so he takes them and he like throws them out the window, and it's just like, it's just so sad. It's so fucking sad.
Yeah, that's what I'm feeling right now.
So this is where Xie Qingcheng finds out some information about the day of the murder. So to recap what happened with Qingcheng's murder. A woman needed brain surgery. She was going to die and she was very unwell. This woman had walked into the hospital and didn't even know how to check herself in. That's how like fucked up she was. Xie Qingcheng had taken pity on her and helped her get checked in. It turns out that the condition she had required a very risky surgery. From the perspective of, was it worth doing? It wasn't worth it because it was so risky. But to Qingcheng, he was like, she's gonna die if we don't do it, so why don't we try? So they do the surgery, but unfortunately she did die. And Qingcheng gives direct orders to the people at the hospital that if anyone ever came looking for answers, to bring them right to him. Not to anybody else involved, and not to Xie Qingcheng, who was the one who basically guided her into the hospital. Mm-hmm. Xie Qingcheng did not know that he did that. And when he finds that out, that the murderer should have gotten to him first. He wishes he could change that day so that he died instead, because he was just a patient, an invalid. How could his life be more important than the life of a flawlessly altruistic doctor?
Okay. So that already puts a different perspective on that crazy thing that he said that got him canceled on social media and made Huyu mad at him when he said that doctors' lives are more important. He wasn't referring to himself. He's referring to, like, the man that he idolized and was, like, his only, like, support in life, and just being taken away from him.
Mm-hmm. He also briefly meets with Qin Sian's wife after this, and she says how grateful she was that Xie Qingcheng entered her husband's life because it brought him out of a deep depression, that she always knew he had found someone to take care of, even if it was a secret.
Wow, so not even his wife technically knew. She figured it out.
She knew,
but
like,
they didn't talk about it.
Yeah.
Wow.
But shortly after that, she dies, and Xie Qingcheng thinks it was as if he lost his parents a second time.
Oh, God.
Okay, so this happens after he became Huyu's doctor.
Okay. You abandoned me. You left me to die.
Before we get back to Huyu, we get some perspective about Xie Qingcheng's life after this and how he married Li Ruiqiu.
Yeah, how did that happen?
He married her once he started taking the new medicine because it made him normal.
It made him straight?
Well, he felt like that would be a normal thing to do.
Oh, right. It's like, I'm on my normal pills. What's on the normal checklist? Okay. White picket fence, wife, maybe a dog.
Literally, right? He just wants to live a good, ordinary life, and this was a part of it. He saw it as a duty to fulfill, spending time with her as a companion to go on walks or see movies, but he didn't understand romance, and she wanted passion. So while he was just trying to live his best normal life at the hospital, one day he finds out they are decreasing security after a journalist made a report about how there's actually too much security at this hospital and people are suffering because of it. Because everybody has to go through the security line, there are sick people outside in the rain, and this is evil. Mm-hmm. So lots of people online are angry, and Xie Qingcheng then sees that the young doctors are now saying things like, we should devote ourselves to the cause and live like Dr. Qin did, putting our loved ones and freedom behind our careers. And only Xie Qingcheng knows that Qin Sian's philosophy was about living a good life. It wasn't about putting yourself in danger needlessly. And this stuff is going back to how Xie Qingcheng used to think he had to hurt himself to help others. And Qin Sian was the one who told him not to do that. Mm-hmm. So it's frustrating to see how Qin Sian's legacy is being twisted into something that is harming doctors.
Right. It's not like he wanted to martyr himself and was doing all that extra stuff out of a self-sacrificing thing to do.
Yeah.
That's not what his compassion was meant to be doing.
To encourage kindness was an eternal virtue, but when taken to the extreme of encouraging sacrifice, it turned into horror.
Right. Because I'm guessing as like more and more people are like using this rhetoric, it becomes more of an expectation. It's not like I'm volunteering to be self-sacrificing. It's like I expect everyone to be self-sacrificing in this way. And now you have to put, you have to put patience before yourself and your family and everything else.
Yes. So he remembers a time Qin Sian asked him about the tattoo he got. What does "Here lies one whose name was writ in water" mean? And he said, because I want to say goodbye to the person I used to be. That Xie Qingcheng is already dead, and in the future I will die as well. All the fame and infamy I accumulate throughout my life will be like text on a water's surface. It will eventually disappear. I just want to live up to whatever life I do have. I want to do some things that are right. And Qin Sian said, that's good to hear. Refusing to succumb no matter what hardships you encounter. Living true to yourself. That is the point of life. I'm very happy that you can think this way, Xiao Xie. I didn't save you in vain. He knew that saying those words in the video that he got canceled for, that his life as a doctor was worth more than a mentally ill person's, would make him a target. But he also hoped that it would help other doctors learn to say no, learn to protect themselves, to know that death isn't the path to proving your righteousness, rather it's living well. After this happened, the hospital ended up putting their security measures back to ensure the safety of their personnel. So it worked! but he still suffered all the scorn from it. Enduring this amount of mental stress starts to take a toll on him, and it starts making him feel those urges psychological Ebola gives him.
Uh-oh.
Where if not controlled, he could end up hurting someone. And so he resigned as Huyu's personal physician.
Because he was literally just suffering so much. He was just not physically capable of doing it anymore.
He gave him everything that he could because he knew if he stayed any longer, he'd go crazy and hurt him.
No, it's so sad.
And he's telling Huyu this while they're about to drown in the water. Perhaps you couldn't tell. You may think that I feigned calm very well, that I was just like my usual self, but my heart had already collapsed. My core was already rotten. At the time, there was no way I could teach you anything. I made a choice and abandoned you.
Oof. And very interesting that he does acknowledge that it was abandonment to him.
Yeah.
He's not sugarcoating it. He recognizes how hurtful it was to Huyu.
Yep. He's like, I literally got that dog in me, or I could maybe rip your throat out.
And let's face it, kid, you were kind of annoying, so you were asking for it. Had to go. And there they are. This brings us to the present, I presume.
Huyu starts crying hearing this and is so upset he never told him. He begins pleading, I've been so cold so many years. Weren't you cold? Aren't you cold? He can't stop crying. He just learned that he had surviving kin in this world. The person who could understand him had always been right by his side. Huyu then tells him he hates him, and this is actually worse.
He's so dramatic. I love him.
But also, he finally sees Xie Qingcheng for what he is, all that he'd done to survive, and recognizes the pain and suffering, and another emotion arises in him. Also, all of this is explained in a super lengthy dragon metaphor. Huyu always saw himself as a dragon creature since he has these inhuman urges no one else in the world can understand. But now he knows Xie Qingcheng is also a dragon, and he is obsessed with the thought that another dragon could provide him with some warmth in this world.
Okay.
And I mean lengthy metaphor.
Like the dragon is load bearing. You can't read this without the dragon.
And then Huyu does something that surprises Xie Qingcheng.
Imagine dragging these balls. Sorry.
That's Huyu in a fucking nutshell. Holy shit. Huyu does something that surprises Xie Qingcheng. He uses all of his strength and lifts Xie Qingcheng up onto the small remaining platform above the water and holds him there in place to save him. He says, if you survive, don't remember me like you remember Qin Siyan, because I hate you. You lied to me, abandoned me. I don't want you to remember me. I'm dying first, so in the future, you'll be the loneliest person in the world. You won't have anyone you can call kin, so put on your mask, Xie Qingcheng, and return to the world of normal society. Forget all this. You're not that old. If you survive, you can start over from the beginning and gain some of the things you never managed to get before.
The whole, I hate you, I'm doing this so you'll be lonely, and then to be like, you can actually live well, you can start over, like, the hypocrisy, the contradiction is crazy. It's so sweet, because they have the misunderstanding between them ran so deep, and every time they, like, almost manage to overcome it, something worse happens to make things just even more impossible to understand, and now all of that is just irrelevant, and they can put it all out on the table.
It's a little twisted, but
he's a little confused, but he got the right spirit.
Then there is this excerpt about the jellyfish. Everyone thinks jellyfish can't have feelings because they are 95% water, but perhaps they did have feelings. Over the course of their short lives, they loved this world very, very much. Perhaps it was precisely because of this deep, transcendent love that they'd managed to survive those endless 650 million years on Earth.
Duh! Gets me every time.
So why do you think she brought up the jellyfish after this moment?
To me, it's about how, like, even if you don't see a point in trying to live well, just trying in itself or just existing in itself is meaningful. Just being able to endure is an act of love. It doesn't matter how you think of it. Doesn't matter if you think of it at all. Just surviving, no matter how sad or empty you feel, is the greatest, most powerful act of love on this planet. And you can do it if you have no brain and are 95% water, so there's no excuse for a human to not endure. There's always something to love. Every creature on this planet is here because it is inherently loving. Meat bun when I catch you, meat bun!
Everyone, Huyu, thinks jellyfish, Xie Qingcheng, can't have feelings because they are 95% water, act like a cold bitch and leave you. But perhaps they do have feelings, and over the course of their short lives, a short time spent as your doctor, they loved this world, you, Huyu, very, very much. Huyu gazed at Xie Qingcheng through a sheen of water, and then bit by bit was swallowed by the flood.
Oh my god! And he's dead. The end of the book. If I hear one more Titanic reference.
Oh, there's more. There's more. Surprise! Huyu did not die.
Oh, goody, goody gumdrop.
He wakes up in the hospital and immediately is remorseful for criticizing Xie Qingcheng's actions. A little self-reflection from our problematic king?
Oh my god, character development.
He sees Xie Qingcheng like this. This was a man who would disregard his own tears and blood to extract every drop of value from his life. What could Huyu possibly demand from someone like that?
Fair enough, kid.
So it's finally like, oh my god, Huyu actually respects him as a fellow psychological Ebola haver. Xie Qingcheng is in the room, and he's okay, not even in a hospital gown, and he asks Huyu how he's feeling, and asks if he wants to see anyone else, and Huyu grabs him and says, I just want you.
Okay, we had respect for a hot second, and now we're gonna be just a little bit too much.
I love you more than a jellyfish loves the earth. Xie Qingcheng basically tells him not to tell anyone his secret or he'll kill him.
Yes, sir.
And we find out that basically they had been saved just in the nick of time. Executive Liu was looking for them, and they opened the door just as Huyu had only inhaled a little bit of water.
I want to know how that worked, though. They're just like, well, we haven't checked this door. Boosh! And they're just like, wah! Literally.
Xie Qingcheng admits to himself that he was moved by the fact Huyu saved him in the last minute, but chalks it up to Huyu only wanting to save other mentally ill people, not because he liked him personally.
And thus we began another cycle of deep misunderstanding.
Huyu even said that he hated him. Shishui says, I hate you. He believes it. Huyu says, I hate you. He believes it.
I think this man just hates himself. He's just too quick to believe that.
Huyu is upset, however, that it seems like their relationship hasn't changed.
He's like, what do you mean we're not boyfriends now?
Literally, he's like, you admitted everything to me, and you're still acting like this rigid, cold guy. Please be a dragon with me and hug me.
I thought you were the Jack to my Rose. What's going on?
Well, literally, Xie Qingcheng is like, I only said those things because I thought we were going to die. Can we please go back to being normal? And then we find out that the moment Huyu went underwater, Xie Qingcheng had jumped in and wasn't going to be like Rose from Titanic. He literally directly compares himself to her. Watching as the heart of the ocean disappeared into the water and all the vitality was frozen out of that fiery, passionate boy, Rose was in love with Jack. But he was an adult man with no such deep feelings for Huyu. There was nothing between them but a mess of inexplicable sordid trysts. And when Huyu went unconscious underwater, he pulled him out and pushed him onto the ledge. And because of the last-minute switcheroo, they were both able to avoid drowning. But he doesn't tell Huyu any of this.
That's so funny. He's so coy for that.
But it's okay because Huyu then yanks him onto the bed.
Here we go again with the bullshit. Are you insane like me? Been in pain like me?
And Xie Qingcheng, this always makes me laugh, goes, what are you doing? Are you insane?
I think we established that out of all things. Yes.
And Huyu goes, you're insane too. Completely insane. Just like me.
What in the goddamn Joker movie?
I know, I'm like, it's giving Harley Quinn. And Xie Qingcheng is like, what are you trying to do? And Huyu thinks maybe he was possessed by the spirit of Jack, seeking a bit of warmth in the freezing cold from Rose on her floating plank.
I can't do the Titanic references anymore! Me fun!
Or the impulse to feel the azure dragon's flesh and blood, which was similar to his own. And then he kisses him. He kissed him deeply and ardently.
I'm still kind of hung up on the fact that he's decided what color dragon Xie Qingcheng is.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
he's
He's the
fully-
ice dragon.
He's, like, drawn out their dragon sonas.
Oh, yeah,
like,
he's the ice dragon.
and made
he's the
them
fire
kiss.
dragon. Ardently, though.
Okay, the
Mr.
ardent kissing,
Mr.
yes.
Darcy Handflex suddenly appears. But at the same time, he resembled nothing so much as an evil dragon, crying out mournfully from its rocky outcrop, hoping to hear even the quietest echo from some corner of this boundless world. There is an insane amount of epic dragon metaphor here again, basically saying that even though he found Xie Qingcheng was another fucked up little dragon like him, he is still ice cold and won't budge. The kiss was kind of fucked up, but also super hot. Like, they are panting into each other's mouths, and it's different from Huyu's other assaults on his mouth. Even though Xie Qingcheng is just letting it happen, he's kind of like really letting it happen, you know?
Yeah, it's kind of like, you don't actually need to be here.
Yeah, and Huyu thinks he wants them to melt together. That way neither of them would be lonely anymore. And Huyu tells him, I just want a little bit of warmth. I just want a little bit of warmth from my kindred. You want it too. I know you do. Can we not fight right now? You give me what's yours and I'll give you what's mine, okay?
Oh my gosh.
And Xie Qingcheng is like, what the hell? If he was supposed to let Huyu fuck him, then what was Huyu going to give him in return? What use could he possibly have for a young man's dick?
Stop, that's so funny. That's so funny.
At the very least, Xie Qingcheng pities him and is like, okay, get off of me first. I can't talk to you like this. And Huyu is like, no, you'll leave. And he's like, I won't leave. Just let me get off the bed.
Oh my god.
And Huyu's like, pinky promise? Xie Qingcheng does not pinky promise him. So Huyu starts kissing his neck instead.
Oh my god.
But we know Xie Qingcheng's neck is super sensitive.
Stop,
So
you're
he
killing
starts
me.
gasping and grasping his hospital gown and tensing up, and Huyu starts nuzzling him and kissing him wetter and leaving little bites. And the whole scene is so horny and desperate, and it's like it's getting so hot between them, and it's like,
Oh my god,
goodness.
like, what is happening?
And Huyu says, I can't resist you, you're my kin. And then the door opens!
I was gonna say, like, maybe. Gosh, I can't. So Qingcheng's like, please don't call me your kin right before this kind of situation. The fuck you mean?
It's not incest if we're both dragons.
Door opens.
This is from
Get the fuck out.
This is from a WikiHow article on what to do if you walk in on your parents.
And the recommendation, I presume, is to leave, but to, like, look over your shoulder as you're going out the door again, just to make sure.
It's Huyu's brother.
Oh.
And he totally saw that behind the curtain, Huyu was about to fuck someone. And his brother is a little shit, and he's like, great, I've got amazing dirt on my brother who's so righteous and perfect, and I'm gonna ruin his reputation as a good boy and tell everyone he's been fucking bitches in the hospital.
Little does he know, his brother's fucking Kira.
But Huyu handles it differently than expected. He fully addresses it and goes, what are you doing coming in without knocking? Did you bring condoms?
Oh my god, sir.
And his brother has never seen Huyu talk like this before, and he's super taken aback. He can't see who he was fucking behind the curtain, so Huyu keeps talking and threatens him, saying, I actually have so much dirt on you. You've defied our parents multiple times, and I've got it all on camera, so you better not tell anyone what you just saw, or I'll fuck you up.
And that's just regular sibling stuff.
Yeah.
Speaking of small children.
Yeah,
Is that little boy wearing a woman's shoes?
Yes, that's actually a very important detail. Back to the plot, okay?
Back to the plot
It
already.
switches scenes.
What?
So, Yi was the guy that died on the film set. They found him in the tank, remember? And there's still 2 other girls that are missing. So the film obviously got shut down. This is when we get to hear a suspicious conversation between Lu Jishu, Huyu's mom, and Huang Jilong, the movie producer. And they talk about how the reason they had Huyu come on set was to keep an eye on him.
Okay.
For the organization.
Sorry.
The organization.
Not the organization.
Like, what? We just still
World
don't know.
Health Organization?
Maybe. Then they're talking about something Duan Wen said. And Huang Jilong says to Lu Jishu, don't threaten me. You're lower than me in the organization. He's paying you more attention because you now have the blood toxin.
Who knows what she's been doing with that?
Yeah. Which is the power that Huyu has to control mentally ill people with his blood. So, like, what? And then Duan Wen calls them and basically is like, who the fuck did you offend to get someone so close to you murdered? This isn't good for the organization because there's going to be an investigation now.
Don't want that.
So now we know there's another organization working against this evil organization? Perhaps? Then we cut to one of the missing girls wakes up and she is gagged and locked in a cage.
Oh, that's not good.
And then a little kid comes and saves her. And the kid says the other girl is already dead.
Oh.
This kind of thing happens a lot here.
The fuck you mean this kind of thing happens a lot here? Get me out of here.
And he's like, here, take this map of the villa and go escape.
That sounds awfully convenient.
So she's like, okay, literally waking up in a horror movie and runs away. But then a man walks into the room and bows to the little boy and is like, we finished setting up the game.
What in the CL Phantom Hive is going on here?
And then the boy is like, let's go upstairs and play then. Is this some sort of Squid Game thing?
I guess.
So my thought is that this boy is an adult, brain in a kid's body or some shit.
Which would make sense if they were robots, perhaps.
Also, he is wearing custom-made red high heels. And I'm like, isn't there another character who wears red high heels in this story?
Yes.
Put a pin in that. Put a pin in it.
Chocolate tea.
Yes, it is, which is a real thing. We cut back to Xie Qingcheng and it says that since he shared the truth, it felt like the dark ink inside him had been diluted a little. He could finally breathe again, at least a little.
Even though he kind of hates that Huyu now has this information about him, it must feel good that someone in this world can understand him.
Yeah. But he does agree that what Huyu had brought up, their relationship was now forever changed, and they'd likely be entangled forever now.
Yeah, you can't exactly
Go back.
go back from your other whale.
After all of this, he was finding it difficult to fall asleep, so he decides to drink some wine and get himself fucking tipsy. And we know drinking alcohol also zaps him of his strength. But the more he drinks, the warmer he feels. And then Huyu comes into his room. And Xie Qingcheng's like, nah, but it was because he brought him some hot cocoa tea.
Oh, how nice.
And Xie Qingcheng's like, an adult man drinking hot cocoa tea? Are you insane?
Takes a little sippy.
And of course, Xie Qingcheng just tells him to get out. But Huyu hugs him instead. And it's like a real hug. He is nestling his head and hugging him like he's another real person.
Aww.
And then Huyu says, I'll keep your secrets, but when we get back, don't spend any more time with Chen Man.
Oh my god.
And then he bites Xie Qingcheng's wrist tattoo, but doesn't draw blood. And Huyu has come to the realization he doesn't want to hurt Xie Qingcheng anymore. So he says, I won't force you to do anything that you don't want to do. I won't torment you anymore. You don't need to be scared. And Xie Qingcheng says, I've never been afraid of you. I just found those experiences disgusting.
Yeah, we get it. You don't have feelings.
And then Huyu says, before I go, can you hug me back just once? And Xie Qingcheng says, please leave. And Huyu leaves, thinking
Giving Scumvillain a little bit.
Huyu leaves, thinking to himself, the ill intent that used to be in his chest has been yanked out.
Aw. Like, that was interesting that for Huyu, all he needed was to have that little misunderstanding cleared up and then to feel understood and seen by someone else.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it feels a lot better. Also, it is very emotionally impactful to see Huyu, I guess, want to turn over a new leaf. Like, we don't want to see Xie Qingcheng suffer anymore.
Yeah.
And Huyu promising to not add to his suffering. We're like, yay!
Yeah.
So, you almost, don't want to believe that he's capable of that. That's gonna actually happen, but if he actually commits to it, that could really be the start of them having a different kind of relationship.
Totally. There's this poetic line where Xie Qingcheng can still feel the warmth from Huyu's body on his own, but he doesn't want it because he was too accustomed to the cold world of the dead with his parents and Qin Seyan. He was no longer accustomed to how it felt to stand so close to the living.
Okay, well, there's a lot to unpack there. Clearly, he's holding himself back from human connection in general.
And Huyu's like, why are you so cold? Why are you a dragon like me, but you're the ice dragon? I don't get it. And it's literally because he's like, I don't know how to be warm anymore.
Don't worry. Huyu will make sure you feel it whether you want it or not.
Inside and out. After this, Huyu truly never comes on to him again, though the desire is still in his eyes.
He's like, if I'm not getting any, Chenmon better not be getting any either. Oh no. It's hurting again. Little heart.
Later on, when everyone is back home, Huyu asks if he can come over to Xie Qingcheng's for New Year's, and Xie Qingcheng ignores him. So Huyu ends up calling Shi Shui and tells her he urgently needs to talk to Xie Qingcheng.
He's so annoying.
But Xie Qingcheng is in the shower, and he's like, I need to talk to him, I'm gonna die. So Shi Shui gives him the phone in the shower, and Huyu's like, oh my god, he's in the shower. Oh my god, we could have phone sex. Oh my god, oh my god, oh my god. He starts freaking out. And literally says, I want to have phone sex with him so bad. But he keeps himself in check.
Gotta keep himself in check.
And Xie Qingcheng is in doctor mode because he's like, he thinks Huyu's having an episode, and he's like, where does it hurt? And Huyu says, my heart is uncomfortable. Can I come to yours for New Year's?
Are you sure it's not something else that's uncomfortable, sir?
Xie Qingcheng says, that's inappropriate, and hangs up. So come New Year's, guess who's hanging out on the street near Xie Qingcheng's house?
God.
Totally making a scene of eating alone and being lonely on New Year's. He's literally like, eating a sad piece of meat, like, I'm just so all alone here.
He's so annoying. I love that he's so shameless.
And all the aunties that Xie Qingcheng is celebrating New Year's with on his block are like, oh my god, look at this pitiful boy. You have to ask him to come over. And Huyu is such a little brat. He's like, oh, Dr. Xie, I didn't see you there. Am I in your way? You see, I had nowhere to go. And Xie Qingcheng, despite seeing through it all, brings him back over.
Oh, they're so cute.
They're so cute.
Oh my gosh.
So Xie Qingcheng is having a bad time at the New Year's party because all the women are fawning over Huyu, and he's telling them that his crush didn't like him back.
Oh my god, I would be so fucking pissed to have him in my presence.
And they're like, why? You're so perfect. And Xie Qingcheng tries to escape in the kitchen, but the women don't want him in the kitchen, so he's forced to sit back with Huyu. And that's when he comes across two little dough sculptures. Huyu brought Xie Qingcheng these cute little dragon dough figurines. And Xie Qingcheng is like, why dragons? And Huyu's like, take a guess. As if Xie Qingcheng will be able to read his mind and know that this entire time he has basically been headcanoning them as fucked up little dragon guys that society will never understand.
He really went and brought his personas for him to enjoy.
He's like,
and was rejected wholly.
literally, he's like, I wasn't born in the year of the dragon. Huyu's like, I know. He's like, you weren't born in the year of the dragon. I know. I don't like dragons. And Huyu's like, in the end, he snatches them back and is very upset that Xie Qingcheng doesn't get it or appreciate them. And it's a very cute scene. But of course, because it's meat bun, she had to make it sad. Xie Qingcheng doesn't have a romantic bone in his body, but Huyu stood out in the cold, demanding the artist make the dragons over and over again to get them just right, to make one like fire and one like frost. He even had the artist inscribe the initials for their names into the scales.
It was very sweet.
And now that he's all upset and embarrassed, he thinks he was a dumb fuck paying his New Year's respects to another equally dumb fuck. What a truly unimaginable amount of dumb fuckery.
Now that's the meat bun I know and love. Oh, who's this? Who is she? Who's back?
Then the party is ruined further when Xie Qingcheng's fucking ex-wife appears.
This man could not enjoy a single day in peace.
But this part was so juicy. It's so messy, and what it leads to is just like... So, Li Roi Cho, she had an affair. She cheated on Xie Qingcheng, and she left him for some guy. Well, turns out this guy cheated on her and knocked up some young girl.
Big surprise that a cheater would cheat
And then he hit her. So she shows up to the party with a big welt on her face.
Oh my gosh.
And
I'm sorry. Okay, yeah. Maybe like crawling back to your ex because you have no one else. Sure. You're gonna show up at New Year's when the entire fucking block is there to see you and like
She's
It's
like,
gonna
I had nowhere else to go.
Like, girl, you are embarrassing the man you cocked.
Yeah, literally.
Can't wait to see what Huyu does with this.
But first, we get a glimpse into what married life to Xie Qingcheng was like. He never remembered anniversaries or got her flowers, but he treated her very well. He always left his card with her and let her get whatever she wanted. And now she's thinking back, saying, Xie Qingcheng was a good man. He was kind-hearted and responsible. He treated others well and me even better. She just wanted to go to Xie Qingcheng's house and ask if she could stay the night, but wasn't expecting the whole alley to be having a banquet. So she sits inside with Xie Qingcheng, and this was so exciting. It's so juicy. In a different kind of way, because I was so curious, you know? He gets her some hot water and asks what happened, because she also is bruised. But he tells her that there's nothing between them anymore. And we get this glimpse of them in their house for the first time, kissing. And she says, I love you so much. I want to be with you forever.
It's like, well, we did vow to be together until death do we part, so that's as good as it gets. You're like, thank you, hubby.
And then in the present time, she said, maybe if we had a child together, it would have worked.
Girl, a baby is not going to fix the problems that you brought into the marriage by cheating.
And then
Sorry.
then he says, okay, it's time for you to leave. And this is out of a comedy movie. Huyu had his head pressed against the door, listening. And when Li Rocho looks at him, she says, Huyu had the same gaze of the woman that was fucking her husband.
Homosexuality is so strong that that even she can feel it.
So Xie Shui obviously hates Li Rocho, of course, but because they are nice people, they decide to help her out and get her a hotel for a few days.
That's nice.
So now Xie Qingcheng is really embarrassed.
Yeah.
He felt like old wounds were opened up for everyone to see, everyone including Huyu, and it really hurt. Mm-hmm. Huyu comes into the room and is basically like, you should have told her to get the fuck out, man. Do you still have feelings for her? Do you still care about her?
Meanwhile, he's just like, I just suffered through the most mortifying ordeal where everyone's thinking about this situation, and I have to be reminded that I wasn't a good enough husband to even keep a wife, and I just want to be embarrassed in private, and nope, you're just gonna make everything worse. Thank you for that.
And also, with the mix of nicotine and wine and psychological stress Xie Qingcheng had been having, he loses control. And Xie Qingcheng has this interesting thought, and it was that whenever he had been upset with his ex-wife, he never thought about throwing anything at her to vent frustration. But now with Huyu, he feels like he can, because he's another man. So he throws a fucking lamp at him.
He's a little misogynistic, but that just makes it, just gives extra perks to being gay.
Yeah.
Because you can throw a lamp at your boyfriend.
Huyu thinks he's hurting him for her sake.
Oh my god. These two are so dumb.
So Huyu goes crazy, and Xie Qingcheng starts to get all self-deprecating and is like, I wasn't good enough. It serves me right to be divorced, to be seen as a joke by all of you. And Huyu kisses him. Oh, this is fucking crazy. This is insane. This is the best scene in the book. This is just everything.
Oh my gosh, what's happening? I thought we were like, no defiling. What's going on?
No defiling takes place, I will say.
Really?
Xie Qingcheng keeps saying, you said you wouldn't do this again. Huyu says, I did say that. Don't worry. I won't go back on my promise. But some things can be different. And you know what he does? He gets on top of Xie Qingcheng, parts his robe, and starts blowing him. Because he feels bad for him.
There's multiple things here to acknowledge. I don't... The reaction to this entire situation be like, my guy needs a pity blowjob. Dude, that this somehow doesn't breach the self-imposed promise, to keep your hands off of him. Yeah, technically you're right. Technically you just promised not to penetrate him, I guess.
Well, here's the thing. Li Rocho never went down on Xie Qingcheng. He has never experienced this before, and he gets a terrifying thrill.
Oh my god, he's into it.
And he gets super turned on.
Oh my gosh. I'm surprised we got this far, honestly. Good for him.
Xie Qingcheng says he's not just getting physical pleasure, but also psychological stimulation.
What does that mean?
It's because he's not finally, like, being embarrassed and being, like, a bottom. It's like another man sucking him off is actually kind of, like...
he's like, wait, I got my masculinity back. This is great.
Yeah.
When you're so straight. This is like the alpha male bullshit that everyone wants.
It is a little bit.
That's so funny.
And he says that until now he'd been disgusted by sex, firstly from being humiliated by his ex, then from what Huyu forced him into, but now he allowed his control to slip.
Interesting. Oh my gosh, there's so much to unpack with Xie Qingcheng allowing himself to feel pleasure and passion, which things that he had like completely restricted himself from. Like, first of all, he has like a lot of like numbness that he's faced with towards life, but also that feeling of like I can't let go, I can't be unrestrained, I can't show my true feelings or have feelings at all because like I have this dog in me where I could throw a lamp at someone or just flat out kill them if I get too unrestrained.
This is a safe space to get a blowjob.
Huyu is as safe a space as you're gonna get having psychological Ebola, I guess.
Where he can be himself and enjoy a blowjob.
Yeah.
Huyu in this moment genuinely really felt bad for him. And he even has like a, oh my god, this is gay thought. And it's like, no, it's not that. Like, I'm doing this to help him.
Yeah, bro's having self-confidence issues.
Yeah. But then, it gets gayer. Huyu stops and kisses him because he starts getting excited because he realizes that this is the same bed that Xie Qingcheng fucked his wife on. But now he could erase that memory. So he's literally still thinking about helping him. He hoped that the flames burning in his chest could spread to Xie Qingcheng's body tonight and sear away every trace of that Leroy Cho had left on his skin.
That's actually really sweet. That's actually really sweet. That truly, I mean, granted, partially because of Huyu, but like, his experience with marriage and sex has been all neutral, if not negative at this point.
He's like, I'm gonna show you a good time.
Yeah.
Xie Qingcheng does think what they're doing is wrong, though, and tells Huyu to have some self-respect and stop. And Huyu starts crying. Stop! Why is he the one crying?
I love how Xie Qingcheng's thing is like, I haven't cried since I was a child, and it's only been at the most like terrible traumatic incidents of my life, and now it's all locked behind because I will never feel any emotion at all ever again. And Huyu will cry at the drop of a hat just for his sake.
And he says he hates feeling like Xie Qingcheng is refusing him.
Yeah, that's exactly what he's doing.
And then Xie Qingcheng slaps him hard across the face, grabs him by the hair, and pins him down and kisses him.
I'm sorry, he kisses him?
Huyu is crying.
Okay, Christian Grey.
Huyu crying because he's like, you're refusing me. And then Xie Qingcheng's like, I will show you. I am not refusing you in this moment.
Oh my god. Like, that's huge. I think that says a lot about how, I mean, it took a lot for Xie Qingcheng to get to an unstable enough state where this is an option.
Yeah.
Like, he's psychologically disruptive. He's intoxicated. He is just like, things can't possibly get worse, so sure,
Yep.
why not?
Yep. This is the very first time that he'd taken initiative to respond. His kisses were as deep as the look in his eyes. When he was with Huyu, he felt like he would be truly needed, not replaceable, not something Huyu could do without.
Oh, I know. That's crazy.
It's the exact opposite of the feeling that Leroy Cho just reminded him of, right?
Of being completely replaceable, not good enough. Oh my gosh. I see the way forward, Meat Bun. You've done it again.
Huyu starts saying, I want you so damn much. I want you so much I could die.
This is like not even gay. It's like another level up of just like, what?
Yep.
Oh my gosh.
He says, God, do it with me, okay? Don't think about her anymore. I'm better than her in every way. She said she couldn't have a child with you, but maybe I could get you pregnant with my child instead.
What? He was doing so well until he opened his goddamn mouth and brought Mpreg into it. Why would he do that? It's like the one thing that could give him the ick right now. Why would you do this?
You'd be surprised. Xie Qingcheng is torn because he's half like you, but also admits that this staunched the bleeding of his heart.
And Preg staunched the bleeding of his heart? What the fuck? Oh my god, he's just as crazy as Huyu. I keep forgetting that, but he is.
Xie Qingcheng then pushes him down and says, "Why aren't you the one getting pregnant?"
Fair enough.
But then Huyu calls his bluff on Xie Qingcheng wanting to top because he thinks Xie Qingcheng would think that's too gay.
It's gayer to top. Actually, it's actually less gay to be the bottom.
So then Huyu says, "I'm the top because I make more money than you. I'd take care of you," and unzips his pants. And they keep kissing here, and they're just kissing and grinding, and it's a super good scene because we finally get like horny Xie Qingcheng being all into it with Huyu, and they're just like bantering and like literally like making out, like
That's crazy.
They're into it, you know? There are so many lines here about Xie Qingcheng being blown away by the passion he can feel Huyu has for him. Meat Bun does not use the word love here, but it's obvious that you know Xie Qingcheng has never felt this level of passion with his wife, and he's feeling it all with Huyu. Huyu then takes both of them in hand, and it's so passionate that Xie Qingcheng is about to reach a critical horizon, as Meat Bun put.
Ah, the critical horizon. Captain, the critical horizon is on the horizon.
And then he's like, "Oh shit, oh no, no, no," and covers Huyu's eyes.
It's not gay if Huyu doesn't see it. That's so funny. That's so fucking funny.
Despite not being able to see, Huyu feels an unearthly pleasure and can't stop smiling.
The post-nut clarity is gonna be the fucking worst.
Then ensues so much talk about impregnating Xie Qingcheng, it's actually hilarious. Xie Qingcheng is even like, "You don't have the ability to impregnate me," instead of saying, "Fuck you, I'm not getting pregnant." And then Huyu says, "Let me find out if I have the ability."
Oh my god. Like, this is not... What? This is not the conversation we're having now. What?
But listen, this is a direct quote. "They clung to each other so ardently that it seemed they no longer cared about anything else, like their sole wish was to fling their worldly concerns to the back of their minds as they melted together in desire."
Hell yeah. All about that shit.
Then Huyu keeps asking if he can do him. "Please let me do you. Please, 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 please." Then Xie Qingcheng kisses him roughly and lets Huyu...
You're kidding.
He lets him in.
Consent king.
Huyu is going hard and fast, hitting the right spots. And Xie Qingcheng is like dying, but he's also feeling an earth-shattering amount of pleasure.
This is like leagues and leagues different from what we've experienced
Yeah.
before in Case File. Like, he is in a completely different mental and emotional state right now.
Yeah, he's like, "This feels so good. Oh my god."
This is crazy. And oh gosh, like, after getting his whole backstory,
I
this
thought you were gonna, like, after getting his whole back blown out.
that's coming next. After getting his whole backstory, this feels so cathartic as a reader.
Yeah.
To just see him get to let loose and have a good time, even if he's inevitably gonna regret it in the morning.
And then Huyu pulls out and is like, "Tell me you want it." And Xie Qingcheng is like, "Yeah, right." Flips them over, grabs him, and puts it back in himself.
Are you kidding me?
Huh?
Oh my god! That is so... Okay, first of all, that's so funny.
Yep.
What a power move.
Yep.
Kind of gay.
Yep.
That's crazy. Good for him.
The scene is so long, it is 50 pages.
50 pages of smut?
Yes.
Oh my god. 50 pages of smut and he's having a good time?
Huyu's like crazy, right? So it's like, he blows him, he has a good time, and then like he bangs him, and they have a good time. But then Huyu's like, "I need 70 more rounds of this." And then Xie Qingcheng's like, "I'm out."
I'm an old man now. So he's a little excessive, but he kind of asked for that. So
You may be wondering, how the hell are they going to act after all this?
yeah.
Xie Qingcheng literally says, "Let's act like nothing happened last night. It was a momentary lapse of judgment."
A momentary, huh?
And Huyu is so upset. He says, "Your momentary lapse of judgment, if I was a woman, would have gotten me pregnant."
Once again, he's like, how would you be the one pregnant?
Xie Qingcheng literally thinks, "Wouldn't I be the one who's pregnant?" But then Huyu is all ooh-woo and is like, "I don't want to go," and is hugging and nuzzling him. And Xie Qingcheng says, "I don't love you, and you don't love me, so it would be a mistake. In the future, we should only do these kinds of things with the people we love. Otherwise, we're just tormenting each other."
That is surprisingly romantic for someone who doesn't really experience romance.
And then Huyu has probably the most epically romantic, poetic awakening of realizing he is in love I've ever read.
That is the time to do it. I love that for him.
Distant mountains appeared to shudder, and the whole earth seemed to shake as Huyu's heart, swallowed by that monstrous beast, set off a staggering earthquake. With his shattered, sickly heart at the epicenter, great tremors tore through his entire body until even his fingertips sought escape from the calamity. Love? Roused from its slumber, the deity in his heart had solemnly called the name of that terrible beast. That name was like a binding hoop that instantly pulled tight around its huge, vicious body. Love. Again and again, the name spiraled through the landscape of his heart, filled with beacon fires and smoke signals. It circled around the ears of that strange beast, which narrowed its eyes in pleasure as it emitted a deep and inexorable rumble of agreement. "Yes," it said, "that's my name. That's the kind of emotion I am. Do you understand now? As your whole world is falling apart, you have finally called me by the right name. Have you found the key to taming me?" The great beast slowly spit out his still frozen heart. A few seconds later, badum, that blood-soaked heart began to beat again and again, faster and faster, more urgently and more anxiously, frantically, madly, transforming into the drumbeat that made his eyes tremble until they reddened.
That's crazy. It's a little dramatic, but I love that because this is nothing if
He is
not
dramatic.
drama.
He is so dramatic and crazy.
But like the whole symbolism of like not even having a beating heart until being awoken by love. I love that so much. And that it is some sort of sentient beast being like, I like, especially like, you have finally called me by the right name, because he has been calling what he feels towards Xie Qingcheng hatred this whole time, when it is clearly something not that.
Yep.
That's so good.
That's so good. You can see his bum.
See his nip nops.
Can't you see them like banging in one of them?
Good time.
Yeah, I think that's that one there.
Oh my god. Yep.
Oh yeah, everyone next year could hear them banging and was like, "Oh, what happened last night at the banquet?" And they said they were watching a war film.
I love it. It's like, yeah, not a romance film. It was actually an entire battlefield happening out there.
Huyu reflects more on if he loves Xie Qingcheng's body or his soul, and realizes it probably started when he first asked him, "Little devil, doesn't it hurt?"
Aww, that's so cute.
Even though Xie Qingcheng managed to chase Huyu out, he ends up coming back later and wants to tell him he loves him. But instead, he tells him that he deleted those pictures he'd taken of him at the club.
Okay.
Xie Qingcheng is basically like, "What do you want me to do? Get on my knees and weep in gratitude?" And Huyu loses his nerve and realizes if he says "I love you," it will probably end up very similar. Huyu agrees to end their relationship there, to not torment them both. But actually, he's just gotten crazier, and he starts spying on him.
Okay.
One day, Xie Qingcheng orders a cake for a neighbor's birthday party, and after he left, Huyu went in and asked for the same cake and went home and ate it by himself to feel closer to him.
This is absolutely insane behavior, and I love that for him.
Huyu's self-soothing post-breakup.
This should be healthy and not harmful.
Takes all of his pills at once, kisses a picture of Xie Qingcheng he found on the internet,
Oh my god.
goes on his side Weibo account and posts about his emotions. And some Weibo highlights include a jellyfish video with the caption, "My heart will go on."
Shut the fuck up!
A nightscape picture taken close to where Xie Qingcheng lives, captioned, "The moon is so beautiful tonight."
This is stalker, and this is so funny.
And he posts a description of his and Xie Qingcheng's relationship on an advice column, then proceeds to block everyone that calls Xie Qingcheng a scumbag because he left out a few important details.
That's so funny. And like everyone assumed that he was a girl.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Now, oh my god, we're so back to the plot.
Oh god, okay, let's go.
New plot points.
Okay.
Xie Shui, sick in the hospital,
What?
having shown signs of having taken RN13.
How the fuck would she have taken RN13?
Seems she came in contact with the drug last fall, and that is when she was drugged by Zheng Lanpei in the hospital. Now, don't get confused. These names sounded similar to me in like a dyslexia way. Zheng Lanpei was the long-term resident of the hospital. She was the crazy lady who killed Liang Jicheng, who was the director of the psychiatric hospital.
Oh, yeah. Oh, that would get me so confused with the J and the L's. Okay.
Zheng Lanpei likes red high heels.
Red high heels!
Here,
Oh
okay.
my god, but I thought she died.
Well, Shishui was drugged by Zheng Lanpei in the hospital. She gave Shishui the concoction that Liang Jicheng would give her whenever she was bad.
Okay.
So apparently this concoction contained a newer version of RN13.
Oh, that's weird.
So basically, Xie Qingcheng and Huyu now have to work together to try and get to the bottom of this. It's still awkward between them because they've decided to break up, but they can work together because there is psychological Ebola here.
And
Shishui.
Shishui.
So they're trying to find anyone connected to Liang Jicheng, the director of the psychiatric hospital that clearly had access to RN13. Mm-hmm. In the meantime, there is also another moment here where Huyu sees Li Ruiqiu with Xie Qingcheng again, trying to get his attention, and he blows her off. Huyu witnesses this, though, and he goes insane.
Oh, God.
Now, if you've read Meat Bun's other novel, Moran is supposed to be the dumb husky. Well, Huyu is like the feral dog that he cabedons him against the wall, and Xie Qingcheng gently touches his lips and is like, remember what you promised. And Huyu is like literally like holding himself back, like,
Like, oh, I want to assault you so bad about this. I just love how it's very interesting how he's just like,
literally.
your promise, you gave your word. It's like, are you a delicate maiden in this situation? You're just hoping that a man's promise is gonna save you?
Literally.
And it works.
So the relationship is very weird at this point, but I low-key love it because Xie Qingcheng had gotten through what he had gone through, so it's like different now.
And you know, I'm a simple woman with a short-term memory, okay? As soon as Huyu gets into his pathetic, longing, yearning, pining era where he's not doing anything bad, I feel bad for him. I'm like, oh no, he loves him, but he can't confess. It's so sad.
Yeah. And so Huyu is sad because he thinks Xie Qingcheng is treating his ex with more respect than he does for Huyu. And Huyu complains that he's technically his ex hookup and therefore should have rights as well.
Rights for the ex hookup.
Because Huyu was literally like, why do you even look at her? And Xie Qingcheng's like, she's my fucking ex-wife. Like, she's not just some random, like, I'm going to have courtesy. And Huyu's like, what about me? I'm your ex-hookup.
It's like, I told you, we're not talking about that. That didn't happen.
Eventually, plot, Huyu manages to find Liang Jicheng's old driver. Maybe they can get some answers out of him. This guy's name is Xia Hong. He is in prison. And so Huyu is going to go interview him under the guise of being a screenwriting student wanting to interview a criminal. When he's there, Huyu tells him that he can get him out of jail if he gives him some info on this guy. Xia Hong then plants the seed that Zheng Lanpei wasn't the actual Zheng Lanpei, that she seemed too stiff. We know that Zheng Lanpei liked red high heels, so I'm like, did they somehow put her brain in the body of the kid?
Some body snatchery is
There's
afoot.
some brain snatchery going on with this shit. And
more
why would
sense
she be
if her-
needing to take RN13? Like, you know?
Yeah. Which, you know, potentially has like these regenerative qualities.
Mm-hmm. So, Xia Hong says he will tell Huyu more if he can prove that he can get him out of prison. So over the next while, Xia Hong is slowly getting up the ranks in jail. He's getting more freedom and better jobs, and he starts working in the kitchen. And it's literally the day that he's going to meet with Huyu, and Huyu's going to help him escape, and he's going to get all his answers. And BAM! Jail's on fire. Dead.
Wow. Must be the organization at work once again.
So they deduce that someone has been following Huyu and is suspicious, and he's on to them.
Darn. A love hotel?
Mm-hmm. Huyu and Xie Qingcheng had gotten in Huyu's car together to drive to the jail before they found out it was burning down. And they are both frustrated because now it's like, well, what do we do? And Huyu is still feral about being his ex-hookup and just seeing his ex-wife around. And so he opens the window and Xie Qingcheng reaches over him to close it. And Huyu is like, "Grr," and they start fighting. And he's trying so hard to not jump him. And Xie Qingcheng gets out of the car and is like, I'm gonna fucking walk home. And then Huyu gets out of the car and gives him his jacket. He's like, you're gonna get cold. While they're still fighting. And then Huyu just loses it. He grabs Xie Qingcheng, throws him into the back of the car, and drives them to a love hotel. He drags him upstairs into the room and then doesn't do anything to him. They're literally up there for like not even a minute. Huyu then rushes out, and Xie Qingcheng rushes out right after him, and he realizes he still has his jacket on. And then they fight over who is going to pay the bill for their second long stay. Then, back at the car, Huyu shoves him into the back seat again. And for the first time, Xie Qingcheng found for the first time he couldn't meet Huyu's eyes. And Huyu discovered a trace of turbulence amid his coldness.
Oh my goodness, we're making progress, lads!
And in that moment, Huyu leans in to kiss him. When suddenly, Celine Dion jump scare, and his phone ringtone is, of course, the Titanic song.
You're kidding me. You're actually kidding me. The Titanic theme song interrupts them.
And this scene, I was so curious about this moment, because would if Xie Qingcheng have kissed him back here? Like,
seems like it.
Seems
And like
like
out
it.
of like, just on a random Tuesday? Like, that's crazy. Oh, we could have had it all.
I know. It says, after seeing the way Huyu had just looked at him, Xie Qingcheng could barely pull himself back together. He'd nearly been bewitched by this guy again. Fucking hell.
Bewitched? I'm sorry, you're out there getting bewitched by him?
You're getting bewitched by 19-year-old cock? Anyways, pause on gay things for a moment to get back to the plot.
Aw.
Remember the homeless guy from the first book?
Yeah.
Well, it turns out he is dying.
Oh.
And wants to talk to Huyu one last time. While they are talking, he tells them that he isn't crazy. He really did have a daughter named Zhao Shui. But he wasn't her blood father. He basically saved her from being sold to a family in this fucked up town that they're both from. He raised her well, and eventually she was asked to be an art school candidate and moved to the big city. But then he never heard from her again. And the last person she mentioned to him was Wang Jiankang, who was the first victim in the Broadcasting Tower murders.
Weird.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. This is all somehow connected to the organization.
Yes. So, this homeless guy's daughter disappearance ended up being related to them. Then, he dies. So, they head to his hometown village for clues. They find out that Liu Yuju, the one who was going to blow up the library from like the first novel, was the county sheriff here. So they realize this place must be connected to the secret organization. Well, in this town, the hotels are gross. So Huyu pays some farmers with a nicer house to let them stay in a spare farmhouse thing. And of course, there is only one bed.
You're kidding me.
But Huyu is still very grossed out by everything because he is a prissy little young lord, and they offer them tea, and he's like, I'm gonna die here. And then we find out that Xie Qingcheng packed milk for him.
Nobody deserves him, okay? Huyu least of all deserves him.
Then they find out that the guy who had murdered Qin Xian was named Yi Beihai, is from this village.
Well, now the coincidences are adding up.
And Xie Qingcheng has a moment where it looks like he's about to lose it, but Huyu covers his eyes and ushers him along. And Xie Qingcheng does find it strangely like he's being comforted. It's like they are very close to something sweet happening, you know? Huyu continues his comforting streak by going out to get some nicer food for them because Xie Qingcheng had been coughing a lot more recently. He literally got so sick after he fucked the shit out of him the other day.
Oh my god.
Huyu does not tell him that he's doing this for his sake, but Xie Qingcheng noticed that all the food that he ordered was food that were to his preferences and not Huyu's favorites. So he's like, why are you being nice to me? And Xie Qingcheng sincerely thanks him.
Aw.
Then, when it comes to the matter of sharing the single bed, Xie Qingcheng is completely against it because he is afraid of himself.
Okay.
Yes. He thinks back to the night they slept together and how he'd taken initiative and how Huyu had brought him a pleasure he'd never known before.
God.
A real, genuine pleasure, one he had never experienced with his ex or by himself. And so he says the best method of prevention would be to reduce unnecessary contact.
Oh my god.
But Xie Qingcheng alone in the bed can't fall asleep. He is having too many thoughts and he's all sick and cold. But that doesn't last because Huyu ends up jumping in the bed in the middle of the night and hugging him from behind. And Xie Qingcheng lets it happen and finally is able to fall asleep.
Stop. That's so sweet. Oh my gosh. I can't believe this.
I know. Who would have thought? So, Xie Qingcheng then proceeds to have a super fucked up nightmare about Shi Shui getting murdered, and Huyu wakes him up. But he's still confused, and he sees Huyu from the night in the nightclub instead, and shoves him off, and is like, don't touch me, all trembling. And Huyu gets upset because he's like, while I crave his touch, my touch only hurts him.
This is like when I told you I was too hot to snuggle.
It's true. Huyu then goes outside to try and calm down, but he is so upset that he fucking cuts himself.
Oh my god. Okay. That was also
That really, really, really upset him.
Yeah, no kidding.
But it's because psychological Ebola craves blood, so if he doesn't do that, he would have the urge to go hurt somebody else.
Okay. So it's more like leeching himself.
Yeah. But then he sees a woman outside, and the woman is peering into the room they were just in.
Oh, that's creepy.
He grabs her, and it turns out to be Liu Yuju, the one from the library explosion.
Wasn't she exploded?
Yeah, they assumed she was dead from, the explosion. She drops a brown paper bag and runs away.
Her lunch.
He goes back inside and tells Xie Qingcheng what happened, and they think it might actually be her daughter because she seemed more agile, like she was able to run away super fast.
Okay. When a lady explodes a library and you're just like, yeah, not super agile, that lady.
Well, they're like, obviously it's not her, she's dead. It looked like her, probably her daughter.
Yeah.
So inside the brown paper bag are records from the Humanity High School, the records that they had been looking for. They flip to Zhao Shui's page and see that her principal at the time was a lady that was married to Huang Jilong, the movie producer. So everything is connected to this organization in the town. Basically, they come up with the idea that Wang Jiankeng would come here and recruit students, telling them that they could move to the big city and become actresses, and Zhao Shui was one of those girls, and then they would go missing. So now they want to investigate Huang Jilong's film company, since Huyu was murdered on set, and they think this is all connected with that. So they go back to bed. Xie Qingcheng left room for him in the bed, thinking Huyu would come back.
Oh my gosh.
But Huyu took the floor. Huyu thinks to himself that the only way he can be satisfied is if he peels off the scales of Xie Qingcheng and meshes their flesh together so that it grows back as one being. Then he'd finally feel close to him.
It's like, I wish we were conjoined twins. Xie Qingcheng in bed. What?
When Xie Qingcheng says, why aren't you getting in bed? Huyu says, it's because he's too skinny and smelly and he can't stand him.
Just be mean to him, why don't you? He hasn't been through enough.
Xie Qingcheng's like, good. But then Huyu whispers, I was just joking, and kisses a picture of Xie Qingcheng on his phone goodnight, and then texts him goodnight after Xie Qingcheng had already been asleep. Xie Qingcheng loves boba.
That is all. End story.
There's a scene where they find boba on the side of the road, and Huyu's like, ugh, oh my god, side of the road boba.
Commoner food.
And Xie Qingcheng's like, I fucking love boba, let's go. He used to always get boba on the way home. And he's like, you wouldn't get it. Generational gap.
my god.
And he sucks every pearl down.
Damn.
But it is like a sweet thing because it makes him think of like his parents and how they'd always pick him up at the boba shop.
Oh. Hello. Oh, hello.
It's in the walls. Huyu and Xie Qingcheng then come across a sex massage parlor, and a little girl answers the door, who they suss out to be Lu Yuju's ex-husband's new wife's daughter.
Oh, yeah, that's not confusing at all. Thanks, Meat Bun.
She asks if they're cops and closes the door on them.
That kid was trained.
So then, they do the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard. They come back in disguises.
They just happen to have disguises on them.
Huyu had taken a makeup class at film school and therefore is now a master of disguise. And not only that, but they make Xie Qingcheng a blind guy.
Why did they do that? Like, wouldn't it be much harder to pretend to be blind than just like a...
I guess because then he can like look around and they could be like, oh, he's just blind. Like, Huyu's even like, look, I have these clouded cataract contacts just in my bag.
Just cosplayer things.
Oh my god. So
It's like Xie Qingcheng's like, you really want me to get canceled twice?
they go back to the massage parlor and they are let in immediately at night. They ask if they can do it all together. But of course they don't do anything with the girls. They just talk to them to try and get some information out of them. And then Xie Qingcheng goes around to the bathroom to explore and finds a fucking body has been embedded into the wall and then like painted over. It's really gross.
Ew. Oh
It's
my
like they
God.
tried to hide the body in the wall, but then it started like seeping through. It's like it hadn't dried yet.
Oh my god.
At the same time, Huyu meets Lu Yuju's daughter, Yi Awen, and realizes that he did not encounter her last night.
Okay.
So it's still mysterious, like who the fuck did drop off the bag last night? Well, I think it's Lu Yuju, but there's been some sort of psychological Ebola RN13 shit going on because now she's super fast, right?
Yeah, sure.
It's like she got exploded.
Yeah.
They saved her. Now she's super strong.
Oh, okay.
Right?
Yeah, okay.
Something like that. That's a total guess, but I have
That
no
makes
idea.
sense, okay.
So anyways, Xie Qingcheng is like, okay, we gotta go. I found a fucking body. And they steal a motorcycle to escape, and Xie Qingcheng is driving it. And Huyu is being way too gushy about Xie Qingcheng telling him to hold on and hold on tight because they're gonna go flying over a jump.
What is happening? What in the Mario Kart is going on?
This just makes me think of E.T. so much.
Into the moon they go.
There's this line about like the determination in Xie Qingcheng's eyes, and Huyu's just like, oh my god.
I'm like, the determination in his... He's still wearing
His
the
clouded
contacts.
eye. No, it literally was about that. It was like the clouded contacts couldn't conceal the determination in his eyes.
I'm confident that they would. I'm confident that if they could conceal that he fully had his sight, they could conceal some determination.
So Yi Awen chases after them on another motorcycle
Oh my god!
and catches up quickly and pulls out a gun.
What is going on?
She starts shooting at them and they fly off the motorcycle.
How does she have a gun?
Also, it's like a made up gun. Like it's like a put together,
Like a
not
3D
official
printed gun.
Yeah, honestly, it's something like that. Like it's some fuck ass gun. They fly off the motorcycle and Xie Qingcheng gets his internal organs bruised from such a hard fall.
I'm sure he's used to getting his internal organs bruised.
But he starts coughing up blood, and Huyu is dangling off of a cliff, hanging onto a pine tree.
I'm sorry. They just crashed onto the edge of a cliff?
Yeah.
Oh my god. What is going on?
Yi Awen then stomps on Huyu's hand, breaking his fingers, but he's so accustomed to pain that he keeps climbing up the tree. And then, I'm dying, this is so unserious, Yi Awen is like, what are you trying to do? And Huyu says, I came to investigate. Your mom. And then she goes, no, fuck your mom. Because she thought he was saying a your mom joke.
Oh my god.
It's like, why are you here? Haha, your mom. It's
Oh my god.
like, no, I'm actually here.
That's so funny. And like they're about to die and there's a gun. This is so funny.
And then Huyu's like, no, Lu Yuju, your mom. And she's like, no, she's not my mom. I don't have a mom. And Huyu's like, okay. But then she's like,
Sensing this is a touchy subject.
but then she's like, anyways, you guys saw the body, so you have to die.
Fair enough.
Yeah. So She puts the gun to Huyu's head, but Xie Qingcheng tackles her in time. And there's this crack of lightning and thunder, and it's this epic cliffside scene. Okay. The tree that Huyu was hanging onto cracks, and Xie Qingcheng immediately turns to him, letting go of Yi Awen and the gun, and Huyu's like, no, save yourself! Huyu realizes that Xie Qingcheng is so special because he will always try to save others, and Huyu thinks just how stupid and naive he had been to believe that video where Xie Qingcheng said mentally ill people's lives didn't matter, because it's so obvious that Xie Qingcheng is not the person to ever say something like that.
I have a feeling that something bad is going to happen to Xie Qingcheng as soon as Huyu has this realization that he is such a good person.
And so Xie Qingcheng ran to his side and pulls him up just as she's shooting her last bullets, and she hits Xie Qingcheng in the arm. And he has now successfully taken a bullet for Huyu. Huyu thinks to himself, his Dr. Xie, he still hadn't left. He still wanted to save him.
Aww.
He manages to pull Huyu up and then crumples into a pile of blood.
Oh my god. Ooh, okay. I see that look in his eyes. It's like, don't touch him, he's mine.
Yeah. The last thing Xie Qingcheng says to Huyu is, I've paid you back for that bullet. And Huyu thinks that it looked like he'd been relieved of a burden, like he could finally write off all of his debts, and it completely hollows Huyu out. So Huyu loses it and lunges at Yi Awen and tackles her and beats the shit out of her because Xie Qingcheng's blood had refined him body and soul into a malevolent spirit.
Ooh, yeah, that was the only thing giving him a sense of humanity at this point. Okay.
And Huyu can't stop thinking the reason Xie Qingcheng put up with him or didn't kill him after all of this was because he felt like he owed him for that bullet. So now Huyu thinks that Xie Qingcheng is going to break things off with him for real, and he's gonna go mega insane. He is like, I'm gonna kill this bitch, I'm gonna torture her to death for what she did to Xie Qingcheng. And right before he goes to stab her to death, Xie Qingcheng calls out, Huyu, and he comes to his senses. And Xie Qingcheng is like, don't be a murderer, don't be like her, let's just call the cops.
Yeah, when that kills people.
And then we get this incredible moment where Yi Awen is begging for them not to call the cops. And Xie Qingcheng goes, Yi Awen, you killed someone!
Yeah, we're calling the cops. You're lucky we're not killing you back.
And the way this is written out just seemed so comedic. Like, bro, shut the fuck up. You literally killed someone. Of course we're calling the cops.
That's so funny.
And then she admits that it was her father that she killed.
Oh, I'm sure that makes... honestly, that makes it better. Like,
yeah.
Girl, you must have had your reasons.
And then we get her sad backstory. So, basically, she escaped this village and went to the big city and found a boyfriend and was so happy, but she hid her poor background from him. She didn't tell him that she was from the poorest, most gambling-addicted village with parents who were criminals. So she lied and said that she was a part-time university student, bought books, and got coursework to make the lie more believable, and of course he never suspected anything. She met his family, and it seemed like his mom instantly saw through her lies, and he stopped talking to her. Then she ended up seeing him on the street one day and overheard him talking to his new girlfriend about how his ex was from the countryside, from a criminal family, and she was so malicious. And she is so hurt because she never wanted to obtain anything from him. She just wanted to escape her family, but no one would believe that. She even paid more money during the relationship for him than he did for her because she was older. Mm-hmm. But her family has basically like stained her. Mm-hmm. So then she finds out that her sister back home is supposed to get married off to this sick, ugly, and old disabled cripple because her father lost all of his money to him. So you're already kind of getting a glimpse of the type of person her father is.
Yeah, he's just selling off her sister, basically.
Yeah. And her mother was Lu Yuju, who was found guilty in this criminal case. So she's like, my mom's a criminal, my dad is awful, and I can't escape it. Unless she has an idea. She ends up opening the hair salon, selling her soul and the local girls to get her dad money so that this deal won't happen. Then, one day, a gangster came to the salon with a lot of money and raped her sister, who was not working there, and her dad let it happen because he was afraid of offending him. And she even got pregnant.
Oh my god. Okay, yeah, that would be a murderable moment, for sure.
And then, when she watched the security footage of it happening to her sister and saw how her dad just took the money from the guy that had raped her sister, she was like, yeah, he had to fucking die.
Fair enough.
Yep. Then a cop car rolls up, and she was like, what the fuck, guys? I just told you not to call the cops.
He had it coming!
But it turns out they didn't call the cops. It was her sister who called the cops because, like, what the fuck? Everyone just ran off on motorcycles. So she comes out and is like, oh my god, like, hello.
It's like, girl, I thought you needed help from the cops. I did not expect you to be shooting people!
Yeah. And so while you're feeling, like, very sympathetic and even think they might let her go, Huyu is like, fuck this bitch. Like, I'm going to hurt her as much as possible right now.
I mean, she did just shoot Xie Qingcheng, so
Yeah.
fair enough.
He says, you still sold young girls yourself by opening the salon. You weren't forced to do that. And now you put their future daughters in the same boat you're in, and you're the one benefiting from them now. And she's like, they were working willingly. And Huyu says, it doesn't matter. All of this happened because you never bothered to look into your mother's whereabouts these past few years. So her mother was Liu Yuju, who was, like, convicted of a crime. She even came back and was like, my daughters. And they were like, you're a criminal. You're gonna scar us even more. And, like, rejected her. Mm-hmm. But little did they know. He says, if you looked into it, you'd find out your mother was actually pardoned years ago. The original trial was based on false evidence, and the prosecutor personally paid her a visit to apologize and exonerate her. And Huyu says, you are a selfish hypocrite because you weren't willing to understand your mother's past while being upset that people are judging you for your own past. And because of that, she ended up working at a salon all over again. The salon being the terrorist organization that she was involved in with the library explosion. Mm-hmm. Because no one made the slightest effort to understand her. Then her sister, who was listening to all of that, hugs her and says, I don't care about any of this. I love you. And it's kind of like finally the curse is broken because if Yi Awen had still loved her mother despite her crimes, all of this would be okay. And so it's like nice to see the sister there, you know. And then it ends with Xie Qingcheng unconsciously bleeding out of his wound.
Oh. It's like, oh, what a nice tidy resolution. Dude, are you okay? So we don't even know if he's going to be okay or where their standing is going to be in the next volume when all debts have been paid.
Right now, Huyu, like, afraid of Xie Qingcheng's death aside, he is so fucked up about the fact that Xie Qingcheng was like, I paid you back for that bullet.
Yeah.
Huyu was like, that's literally the only reason he, like, even looks at me.
Yeah, so he's going to be stressed for sure.
Yeah.
Hello? Warning, lack of sex may cause stunted growth?
There is a mini theater chapter, which is like Meat Bun's extras that are between the story. So, there is a magical pet shop extra where Huyu is the puppy dragon Xie Qingcheng got from the store, and they are trying to figure out what to feed him. Shi Shui Googles it and find out that they don't need food. They need sex with the person they love. So she's like, let's fucking sell him? But Xie Qingcheng doesn't believe this and is like, oh, that's hearsay. So he doesn't give up on him and he gives him some milk and is like, see, he's fine. And then Huyu licks his fingers. And then it cuts to many years later when Xie Qingcheng is getting pinned down by Huyu and thinks back to that original post and is like, damn it, why didn't I believe her?
I'm sorry, the puppy dragon from the puppy dragon's pet store?
Grew up and fucks the shit out of Xie Qingcheng.
That's horrifying.
He needs it to live. And that's the end of the book.
I thought the tone shift from like Xie Qingcheng bleeding out on the cliffside in the rain and straight to like the puppy dog theater.
Yep.
What the hell? Oh my god, that's so funny.
Well, if you guys enjoyed this book club and you'd like to hang out with Stitch and I and talk about Danmei, every single Friday at 7 p.m. PST, we do Danmei Game Night, where we hang out and chat and then play games that all have Danmei prompts in things like Frantic Fanfic, where we write fanfiction together, or Gartic Phone, where it's like Pictionary. It is so much fun, and it's the best way to help support my channel by becoming a member. I hope you enjoyed, and if you'd like to purchase this book or pre-order the next volume, I'll also have links for that down below. Thank you guys so much for watching, and we'll see you next time. Bye! Bye.